Assalamu alaikum. I will be giving a talk on anger. Anger is one of those things where a person can really control it and succeed, or they can fail and let it get the best of them. Anger is one of those things where it is an inside driving force that can really turn the tides and change things in life. One good story is an Islamic story of a person getting angry, but then changing at the end, right at the right moment, and controlling his anger. This is more of a positive story. So there's one of the companions, and he was at the beginning of Islam, and he's not a companion yet, but he was really angry at the message of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and he was very frustrated. So he decided to try and fix the problem by getting rid of the Prophet, peace be upon him. This was not a good idea, but this is what he did. So he decided to try to kill him. So he's on his way to try to kill the Prophet, peace be upon him, and one person sees this person that he's very angry. So he asks the person, "Oh person, why are you so angry?" He said, I'm tired of the Prophet, peace be upon him, I'm going to try to off him, or get rid of him. And the person was surprised, and he was worried about the outcome, so he said, "Well, why don't you start with your family first?" So the person says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You don't know? Your sister actually became a Muslim." And this person gets very angry and very frustrated, and he's on his way to his sister's house. So he changes directions from trying to go towards the Prophet, peace be upon him, but he goes to his own family. And he goes to the door, and before he knocks on the door, he hears people reciting the Quran. And then he knocks on the door really loudly and says, open up, I think. And then the people basically hide what they're doing, and a few people hide away, and the sister opens the door, and this person jumps out, and he grabs his sister, and he says, "You became a Muslim," and he interrogates her, and he's giving her a hard time. They go through a scuffle and struggle for a little bit, and this person decides to calm his anger down because he hit his sister. And then he says, "Oh, well, I want to find out what you're reading in a rational way rather than being angry." They go through a series of steps. Later on, he reads the Quran and says that that what they're preaching is not as bad as what people are making it seem. So the person calms down and says, "I want to actually meet the Prophet, peace be upon him. Instead of trying to get rid of him, I want to become a Muslim." Then this person goes out to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and actually becomes a Muslim. So this is a story on how anger can really set a person to the really bad path, but if they control it and if they rationalize what they're doing and act logically, then they can become a person that is successful. There's a hadith where the Prophet, peace be upon him, where somebody wanted to ask advice to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and he's asking him, "Give me one good piece of advice I can take away with right now." And the Prophet, peace be upon him, told him, "Don't get angry." And he said, "Okay, give me another one." And he said, "Don't get angry." And he said, "Give me a third one." And he said, "Don't get angry." And this person might have been frustrated about what the Prophet, peace be upon him, was asking, but the Prophet, peace be upon him, was making a statement basically saying that if you control your anger, then there's a lot of things in life that will go easier, and you will not run into as many, or you won't run into a lot more problems if you were to not control your anger. In society, people don't like angry people, but then they might get angry themselves. So a person might have a temper, and people might not like him because of it, and also society does not like a person that has a temper, even though they might have a temper themselves. When it comes to relationships, whether it's family, friends, spouse, etc., angry people might tend to be labeled as being angry for continuously losing their temper. And this is not too good. And this is one good reason why a person should try to quit being angry, is because it proves that it doesn't only affect the person, but it affects everyone around them. Of course, it is not good to label people at the same time, but it's inevitable in a way. Anger is one of those things that some people might have anger problems very early on in life, or they've had it ever since they're little, or depending on the circumstance, they might get angry. There are people that are young that are angry maybe as a teenager or adolescence, and then they continue to have a bad temper when they grow up. And when a person has something like this really is something that they need to work on, and it can be a really big life struggle that might take more time than just days and weeks. Maybe this person needs to go through a series of situations and really battle their anger. The Prophet, peace be upon him, paraphrasing, I don't remember the exact wording, but the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that he does not like the person who has a problem but doesn't want to change. Meaning, it's one thing to have a problem, but if you have a problem and you're working and striving to fix the problem, then you're in a much better place than you might think. But if you have a problem and you don't want to change, that is very frowned upon, and it is very bad for a person, because there's things that are limiting you in life, and if you enforce it, then it's very debilitating. There are multiple ways to control your anger. To name a few, I'll try to touch on a few. Working on stress management is very important, and working on breath control would be very important in controlling your anger. Maybe just catching your breath and realizing the situation as it is a good way to deal with anger. Realizing that maybe it's not worth it, or it's not that big of a deal to get angry over what you are actually getting angry with at the moment. Also, walking away from a situation would be very helpful. If somebody is intentionally trying to get under your skin and they are very anger attracting, then it would be good to just walk away from the situation if possible. Maybe you can't walk away, but maybe during that situation, you yourself try to not say much and try to just get out of the situation as soon as possible, if you can't get out of the situation immediately. When it comes to a religious advice, I think there's a saying where maybe it's the Prophet, peace be upon him, where someone was saying, if you're angry, then try to sit down, and if you're sitting down, try to lay. If you're standing, try to sit down. If you're sitting down, try to lay down, and this will help a person conquer their minute detail of being angry at the moment. When a person controls their anger, people will see it. Family and friends will see it. Maybe people at the workplace will see it. People at school will see it. And there are many benefits of becoming a person that controls their anger. When a person wants to control their anger, it might be difficult, but it's very doable. It is not as easy as working on small things in life, like changing a tire. It might take a lot of effort and stress to work on changing their anger. It'd be beneficial if a person really learns how to be patient in times of angry situations, telling himself that I'm gonna get really angry and this is gonna get bad unless if I control myself. Forbearance is also very important in this situation, by simply just sucking it up and just trying to just grind through it. Also, information and knowledge on what you get angry about and how to control your anger in situations would be very important. Seeking advice and knowledge from professional people is another great key, because they can really walk you through certain situations mentally and really show you the right way. Lastly, being patient, I already said, but patience is probably the most important out of the three. Out of patience, well, all three of them are good. I'll say all three of them are good. Patience, forbearance, and knowledge are all good.